Welcome to the Turbo Championship of Online Poker 2013, event number 38, final table highlights. This is a $215 no-limit hold'em event with a $500,000 guarantee, which we ended up a smidge under, 1,973 runners. But there's a twist. It's an ante-up tournament. The blinds don't change, the ante raises. Really fun format. Tends to favour good, strong, aggressive players because there's a lot of money in the middle. Position is paramount. Position is paramount. True for every single no-limit hold'em game ever played. So a little bit different, a lot of fun, and we've got a really strong final table. I'll take you through it as the players get involved. This is the very first hand of your final table. As you can see, blinds 5 and 5. Those have not changed from the very start to the final table. Weird. Now, every player has to ante every hand in this tournament. And as you can see, the antes are actually quite big now. 240,000 in the middle. And Kovac's going to shove with the ace-4, which seems pretty reasonable. Looks like he might get action. The chip leader's thinking about it. And tilt you. We'll re-raise to try and shut out Papa Dog, the last remaining player, and we'll have a race. And it's a race for Kovac's tournament life. The Bulgarian player needs this ace-4 to improve, or he's going to be the first man out at the final table. Not his flop, is it? And no help on the turn, so an ace or a 4 needed. And the 7 of diamonds confirms Kovac doesn't last a hand at the final table, but a great run through the tournament, $5,000 for his efforts, and will be narrowed down to these 8 players fighting for the title and the $80,000 first prize. And tilt you, 3.2 million, very nice chip lead. Big move over the next few hands from Assad 91. Very good player, he's got several 5-figure scores on stars. In fact, it's a final table with a really good pedigree. A lot of very capable players. On my bicycle, seems to have mastered this turbo shenanigans. This is his second final table of TCOOP 2013. Finished 9th in event 28. Also, he's running good. 3rd in the Sunday warm-up just 2 weeks ago. His run good may come to an end here, though. As you can see, he's dominated by Outlaw's ace-king. Papa Dog might have been looking to get the money in himself, but not with that amount of action in front of him. He folds the ace-10. And Jokey apart will also fold. And on my bicycle will be on his aforementioned bicycle, unless he gets lucky here. Nothing for him on the flop. He does have diamonds covered with the ace, but that's not a possibility anymore. Some chop pots here, but the Queen of Spades isn't one of them. And a nice size pot over to Outlaw 523. On my bicycle is out in 8th. The Dutch player takes home $8,750. And we are 7-handed in a hurry. 280,000 and 10 chips in the middle. And 399 chips bet by empty 1 seat. I'd like to analyse that, but I can't. And tilt you. We'll also be trying to analyse that. It's a really interesting dynamic, isn't it, with the small blinds and so much money in the middle. Well, and tilt you just thinks, I don't know what you're messing around at. Empty seat. With your tiny bet nonsense. Eat this £850,000 in your grill. Probably going to work. Unless empty seat feels like calling off his stack with 9 high. So a nice bit of opportunism by Anne's tilt you. You can see the amount of money there is to be won. And he picks it up risk-free. Empty seat opens again, 3 times the big blind, which is Less than 0.5% of the money in the middle. It's fun, this, isn't it? Outlaw's going to raise him. Both weirdly with the 10-7. Empty Seat's interesting player. Does have some really good results on Stars. He's made the Sunday Million final table twice, and he's won the big 162 and the bigger 55. So, experienced player. Ante-Up's just putting the hammer down, though, really applying the pressure on these other players. Quality wielding of the big stack right now. Again, he's risking, you know, a relatively small amount of chips to win what's in the middle. Can Outlaw play back at him? He can't, so pretty crushing performance in the early going from Ante-Up, up to over 3.5 million. Hand 16, still 7-handed. And time for Jokey apart to get the money in. Queen 8 suited is enough, he says. Over 350,000 in the middle. And this is a great spot for empty seat. With the Ace King suited. So the two of the three shortest stacks have got their money in. Does Ante-Up want to get involved? He does want to get involved. You could argue slightly optimistic. I guess he sees the chance to knock out two players. He's going to get the bad news that one of them has him badly dominated here. As the percentages for this one on screen. Jokey apart and empty seat both all in. Jokey apart covers empty seat. And no help on the flop. So Ace King still in front. That's the way it goes on the turn. Any change on the river? No. So the Ace King is going to win, but the King 10 of Ante-Up is going to knock out the Queen 8 of Jokey apart. So Jokey apart, having shoved an early position, is the victim of Ante-Up's steamroller approach to this final table. And he goes out in 7th. Jokey apart from Norway, $13,500, leaving us 6-handed. And with a sad 91 shoving here. Outlaw's having a think, but he'd be surprised if he got involved for that many chips. 1.2 million, so a big shove relative to the stacks. Decision time for Papa Dog from Germany. And Ace Jack is enough. He's going to be delighted when he sees the hands. We'll have another all-in. 1.3 million in the middle. Papa Dog is holding the best hand, but he's also all in. An interesting flop. Assad jumps to the lead with a pair of 5s. Papa Dog with the flush draw. 2 for a chop. Papa Dog needs help, and he gets it. 6 of clubs. Does it the stylish way with the nut flush on the river. And he scoops 1.3 million up into 4th spot. We're going to give you the chance to get involved. We've got lots of $215 buy-in seats up for grabs. Password for the free roll coming later in the show.
He's playing poker!
I've been wandering around this place like a gypsy gnome.
Robert's all in!
Yes!
We are competition everywhere. We are poker.
Welcome back to the Ante-Up tournament, event number 38 of the TCOOP, and there are your standings for the 6 remaining players contesting the title. No deal at this final table, I can exclusively reveal, so we're playing for straight up cash prizes, $80,000 up top. And as you can see, 300,000 in the middle. So the more astute among you will have worked out that everyone is anteing 50,000. So if you see it that way in context of the stacks, they're pretty shallow, aren't they, in fact? Outlaw is going to open this pot after Empty Seat has limped. And Tilt You makes it 80 to go. And he's just not letting anything through, is he? If there's a chance for him to pick up the pot, he's going to take it. Doesn't matter what the format or structure of the game. Some things don't change in poker. If you make the last bet, you tend to win. Outlaw 5-2-3 with the decision. He might be getting a little bit tired of getting pushed around here. He's going to take a flop. 460,000 in the middle. And one of the other things that doesn't change is if you call out of position and then you miss the flop, poker tends to get a little bit tricky. Outlaw's going to try and lead out. It's a very small bet, isn't it? And having watched Anne's Tilt You play for about 4 minutes, I don't think he's just going to quietly fold here. Using my poker intuition. He has no hand, but they never did any hand, and there's the raise. Well, Outlaw's going to have to take it to the next level in one of these encounters. He can't just be allowing himself to get bullied like this. It's working for Anne's Tilt You, 3.7 million. He's really dominating this final table at the moment. 360k in the middle. They're all posting a 60k ante. So you can see a sad 91 actually is very short stacked at the moment. Empty one seat will try a traditional raise. And those 3 chips are like a massive red rag to the Anne's Tilt You bull. I mean, maybe he'll fold. No. That's the opposite. Anne's Tilt You shoves for 3.7 million. All the other players could kind of chip in together and call it, I guess. No, it's fine. That's not how poker works. Empty one seat gets to call this off, you'd expect. And maybe this will change the dynamic of this final table if Empty one seat makes this call and his hand holds up. He does make the call. It is a big call, of course. It's his entire stack, and he's in 3rd spot in the tournament, but ace-king suited, too good to fold, and he's going to be delighted the spot he's in. Well, a big sweat now for Empty Seat. He's all in. Anne's Tilt You has flopped the straight draw. Plenty of outs. Empty one seat has spades covered, and Anne's Tilt You hits it. My word. Well, can you say name on the trophy? He now has 5.7 million and a willingness to put his money in the middle. Not great for the other players. Very unfortunate for Empty one seat. The German player has to be content with 6th place. $18,500. That was a mouse smasher, that one. Or at least mouse denter. Outlaw opens for 555,000. The small opens weren't working for him. So he's going to try a different strategy. Out of position against the chip leader. Anne's Tilt You does not have a call button on his software. In goes the money with pocket 7s. And we'll see if Anne's run good can continue here. Looks like he's going to end up in a race, doesn't it? And if Anne's Tilt You 7s were to hold up, look at the situation he'd be in. He'd have almost all the chips in play four-handed. No one else has more than $1 million. Outlaw's trying to change that dynamic. Finally getting it in with Anne's Tilt You. The 7s hold through the flop. This could almost be for the whole ball game if they hold through the turn and river. Jack doesn't help Outlaw. Needs to catch this river or he's done. He does catch it. What a big card that is for Outlaw 5-2-3 and also for this final table. Totally changes the frame. It would have all been over more or less. But as it is, we've got joint chip leaders. Anne's Tilt You still has plenty of chips. Outlaw now really in this thing, both with around 3.8 million. And then we have 3 short stacks. It's a fun final table so far. I wonder if that will slow Anne's Tilt You down at all. Yeah, he's only made it 50,000 with the 6-4 offsuit. So it has. It's really put the brakes on. Looks like he only has one speed, and you can't blame him, really. It's been working. The Canadian keeping the hammer down here. A sad 91, horribly short stacked, but just not finding anything to play. And other players keep getting involved, so I guess he's thinking money jumps are fine, I'll take them just by sitting here. Outlaw's going to call here with pocket pair. Not a great flop for him, is it? Especially against a player that's playing so many hands. It's very tough for him to put Ante-Up on a range when his range includes 6-4 offsuit from under the gun. Outlaw's going to try the lead out bet again. It didn't work last time. I think Ante-Up just sees it as an insult. Yeah, do you want to get out my pots, please? Very tiny bet in the context of the pot. And it does get the traditional Anne's raise. Now, does Outlaw have another gear to this? He doesn't. He's bet folding again against this player, and I don't know. If you can get it in ace-king and hit the ace-king again, then that's great, but as long as neither of them have a hand, and still use superior aggression and position, it looks like it's going to carry the day between them. 3 other players still involved, of course. It can all change very quickly. It's not a private battle, even though it looks like it at the moment. Papa Dog's going to try a limp here, and Assad says, well, I'm not going to get much better than 9-8 suited with no raise to me and 300,000 in the middle. Outlaw will make the call. Ante-Up thinks and folds the 9-3. Probably feels a bit sad not to be involved. We've got 700,000 in the middle. We've got an all-in player, Assad 91 from Norway, who has a really good tournament track record on stars. Another good score for him here, but it's going to end unless he can improve. Needs to catch 9 or 8, or now a spade. Outlaw makes a pair of 5s and makes 2 pair on the river. Didn't need to, but does it anyway. Up to over 4 million. Assad 91 hits the rail. The Norwegian takes home $23,750 and leaves us 4-handed in event 38 of TCOOP. And another short stack shove here. Nico Goody 93 will put the money in with an ace 4-handed. And fascinating how close Outlaw and Ante-Up stacks have been on several occasions at this final table. Over 4 million and less than 1,000 chips in it. Well, Ante-Up's shown a willingness to call off against the small stacks. Can't see that changing here with King 8. He can eliminate a player, and he does it again. Makes the raise to shut out Papa Dog, just in case he's got something he wanted to call with. And we'll see another race. Nico Goody, or Godoy, or Godoy. I think I've covered all possibilities now. Has the ace. He's winning this hand, but he is the all-in player. And the king on the turn is not what he wanted to see. Crushing for Nico. He hits the rail in 4th after a great tournament. The Argentinian wins $32,875, but he made the classic mistake in event 38 of the TCOOP. Do not contest an all-in pot with Ante-Up. You'll be grossly disappointed. The Canadian juggernaut up to almost 5 million now. Outlaw 5-2-3 hanging with him. And he's picked up a big hand here. And this is a great spot for him, isn't it? Papa Dog's a short stack. Really has to put his money in here, you feel. And it goes. Absolutely the right thing for him to do. Every possibility he's got the best hand here. Not in reality, but in the world of theoretical short-stackedness. That could have been good. As it is, it's a ruddy disaster. Outlaw with the ace-king has him dominated. Papa Dog does have a club. Any club will do. Or a lady. No club, no lady. And Outlaw will make the inevitable heads-up a reality. Ante-Up will take on Outlaw after the break. This will be fun.
We are 10,000 people in Brazil, holding our breath. We are alone. hunters. Hunted. We are committed. Blessed. Calm. We are all in. We are poker.
Welcome back. As promised, here's that big free roll password. You want to get involved in this one. The password is Fearless Felix, or one word lowercase. This one is on the 29th of January at 3:15 Eastern Standard Time. Lots of Sunday major tickets up for grabs. Here's your heads up battle caused by Papa Dog going before the break and collecting $45,000. As looked inevitable from about hand 3 of this one, and Tilt U will take on Outlaw 523. Very even chip stacks, Outlaw winning a couple of small pots in the early going. And Anstilt's really had Outlaw's number, apart from that big all-in pot. But you have to say, Anstiltu has had position on him for the whole final table. Heads up, of course, that advantage doesn't exist. So, be interesting to see how this one goes. Anstiltu raises his button and Outlaw defends. And Outlaw flops the flush draw with the overcard, and Tilt U with a gut shot and an overcard and a backdoor flush draw. There you are for completeness. Outlaw ahead right now, and he'll lead out, as he's done over and over, hasn't he? He hasn't changed the strategy of leading into hands, and he's been regularly raised when he's done this. I wonder if anything will change here. Nope. It's a reliable pattern. Outlaw has a little something here, though. No real possibility of him folding. Just a case of whether he wants to call here or do that. Well, that takes the play out of it a little bit, doesn't it? In goes the money. Surprising line, I guess. You know, if you hadn't watched the whole final table, that would be a hard one to understand. But Outlaw's had to fold so often to Anne's Tilt U. He just doesn't want to be playing out of position against him, I think. Not sure that's the answer, but it's an answer, certainly. On we go, hand 48 of this fast and furious final table. Outlaw raises the button. And Asen will 3-bet. And Outlaw will defend the 6-deuce. These two not exactly playing tight, are they? Let's be honest. Straight draw for Outlaw. Asen with 2 overcards and the betting lead. And a lot of money behind, isn't there? $4.2 million for the Canadian player. He does make the continuation bet. Well, we saw Outlaw play a draw really fast in the last hand, but this is slightly different. He does have position here. So he'll just flat call. And still no hand for Outlaw. As in not much either, but winning at the moment. We haven't seen Asen Tilt U slow down at all. Actually, in almost any hand we've seen him play. And does he slow down here? He does. Decides to check. Outlaw will scarcely believe his luck. He can actually either take a free card or try and bluff at this one. And he just shoves. I mean, it's bold, isn't it? You say that much for it. it's a bluff that's probably going to work. But doesn't really leave himself many options when he does that. Outlaw takes it down. Clearly, he's just had enough of having to fold to as and post flop, and he's just going to go loco on him. See what happens. Working so far up to 5.6 million. Little chip lead, little bit of daylight between them. Hand 49 sees as until you raise the blinds. And a 3-bet from Outlaw. Haven't really seen this line yet with Outlaw 3-betting Asen. And he will defend. So we'll have 450,000 in the middle. Plenty of money behind as we head to the flop, and no help for either player. So this should be Outlaw's pot as the 3-better. But we'll see. He decides to check. Interesting decision. I wonder if he's thinking about check raising here and some sort of pretend I flopped the world play, knowing that Asen won't be able to resist betting. I wonder if that's the plan. Be surprised if he was just check folding here. Well, Asen will bet, but we knew that before it happened. And Outlaw will call. See, I feel like there's a plan. I just don't feel like I know what the plan is. Ah, maybe this is it. Turn the flush draw. Clever. Clever. Queen high flush draw for Outlaw. And he'll shove. I mean, there's a theme developing, isn't there? Get a draw, put the money in. And it's working. I mean, what can you say? It's working. He's opened up a chip lead now, over 6 million. And it's a 2-1 chip lead. A little bit better than that as we watch hand 52. And they're both posting 100,000 right now. So stacks a little bit shallower than they look, aren't they? As until you might decide to shove this. He's got a small pocket pair. Lots of fold equity, and yeah, in goes the money. All but 2 chips. He's saving those for the next tournament. Outlaw 5-2-3 has the decision. Ace-4 offsuit. It's not an easy one, is it? But he's going to go with the hand. He figures Asen is aggressive enough. He's got to put those 2 chips in. I was joking about saving them. You just can't do that. And we're going to go to the flop, and this is, well, it's a huge pot. Biggest pot of the tournament so far. As you can see, it's worked out great for Asen Tilt U. Big favourite here, but he's the all-in player. 4 on the flop helps Outlaw a little bit. If he can find a way to win this, he wins the tournament. 6 on the turn doesn't change too much. Asen's still ahead. And 10 on the river gets the pocket 5s home, and this one's flipped around. Asen Tilt U now with the 2-1 chip lead. Now, if it was possible, things would go even more mental between these two. We've jumped a couple of hands, and in that time, the chip lead would reverse twice with a couple of all-in pots. Basically, they're just putting the money in. And I should confirm no deal has been done. They're playing straight up for the first and second prize, a $20,000 difference. 60k for second, 80k for first, and the title. Just 2 players who are not afraid to lose, and neither one can get home and win it. Anyway, as we rejoin things, Asen Tilt U does have the chip lead. And is going to shove with King 10. And Outlaw's going to call. I mean, they're not particularly deep stacked, but even still, I think Jack 5 is optimistic. Outlaw, the all-in player. Will this be the end of things? It's a big pot, 8 million in the middle. And King 10 is winning right now. Asen Tilt U looking to wrap up the tournament. And he can't do it. Oh, it's gross. 9 on the river. Asen Tilt U a card away from victory. But Outlaw knew what he was doing. He's just waiting to make that straight. It's a brutal business, isn't it? This no limit hold them. Hand 60 of what has been a very entertaining but slightly mental final table. Final table with the handbrake well and truly off, befitting the Turbo tournament. I mean, if you're getting it in with Jack 5, you're getting it in with 7s. There goes Outlaw Stack. Asen probably not deep enough to fold this. He's going to call. He is going to be in a race, but he needs to catch here. Outlaw trying to get these 7s home and win this title, and he may well do it. A set on the flop all but ends this. And no way out for Asen till you. So Outlaw 5-2-3 after a quite ridiculous battle where it went back and forth, brings it home. He got bullied in the early stages by Asen Tilt You, but he has the last laugh. Outlaw 5-2-3 from Australia is your Event 38 champion. He wins $80,000. No deal at this final table, a straight up win. Asen Tilt You gave us a tremendous amount of entertainment, but he has to be content with second. And Papa Dog from Germany rounds out the podium. A really entertaining final table. Ante-Up is a fun structure, and give it a try sometime. You will enjoy it. Lots more Turbo Championship of Online Poker to come from us. But for now, for everyone at PokerStars.tv, I'm Nick Wellsall. Take